Hey everyone, today I am watching and reacting in real time to my friend Laura Escudé and her rig rundown of her American Idol playback rig. So let's check it out and let's see what we can learn from Laura. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Reacts video. These are really fun for me, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to learn how the pros use their gear to create a great experience for the artists they work with or for themselves if they're bands in doing playback. And today I'm watching a video from my pal Laura Escudé. Laura is the world's first ever Ableton Live Certified Trainer, so myself and other certified trainers have Laura to thank for paving the way for us. In addition, she's very much one of the pioneers of the playback world. She created a company called Electronic Creatives, and they run playback for basically every single major artist that's on the road. An amazing team of playback techs, creatives, musicians led by Laura. She's an amazing playback tech herself. She ran playback for Kanye for many years and really pioneered some cool uses of playback in that sense. Laura's just a great friend, and again, she's super talented, great artist in her own right, great educator. But she posted a video. This is only about 2 minutes 37 seconds, which is shorter than I think my intro I just did. But so it's a pretty short video, but I want to watch this react in real time because I think there's always something we can learn. Even if it's a rig that we go, I'm never going to use that gear, we can pick up little bits and pieces here. So let's dive in. Let's check this out. Again, I have not seen this. It's a year old, which I don't know why I haven't seen it up until this point, but let's check it out and again see what we can learn here.
Hey, what's up? I'm Laura Escudé. I'm a playback engineer for American Idol.
R&B based, which is cool.
And I'm here backstage with my rig. I am performing tonight. We are all performing in the finale, which is amazing. Very honored to be here and be a part of this crew. And shout out Kris to having me on, the musical director for this show. A playback engineer's job is really important. We are responsible for all of the backing tracks as well as clicks and cues, timing things, time code for lighting a video, keeping things synced together so everyone's hearing what I am delivering in their in-ears. And I've got two systems here, a system.
That's a big piece, I think, that we don't often think about for the role of a playback tech. Is not just clicking cues and tracks, but Laura's synchronizing the entire show, video playback, lighting playback a lot of times. So, and she's talking now about a redundant rig, which is essential if you're going to do a rig like this.
And a B system, one is for the main rig and one is for the backup rig. And so I can control the set list with this controller here. And open and close
Using
it.
Setlist by Strange Electronic
for the show tonight, and I can move up and down in the set list. This controller here was developed by my company Electronic Creatives as well as Maurice Williams. So it's a very simple controller that allows me to play and stop, go up and down the set list, and open and close the set list. And in my session,
pretty similar to the Oakboard Slide Duo.
Tracks and clicks and cues and time code, all different kinds of stuff. And then over here is my rig. So this is the hardware rig.
So the rack of all the gear.
All of this is being sent out to monitors front of house as well as the truck. And this is my interface here. These are the RME MadiFaces.
Got the Xbox.
They are Madi
switching,
Madi
the Andiamo for
and
conversion.
what I'm doing for this show is actually converting them to analog, so I can have either digital or analog, converting them with this direct out Andiamo converter, which sends the Madi signal and converts it into the analog signal. I can do up to 24 channels with this rig. I also have the Mutech clock up here, which clocks everything together. And then I've got the Xbox BLDS, which is the Madi redundancy switch, which allows me to switch between the two systems. So I can press this button here, go to the backup computer if I want to force it, and then if I lose tone on this computer here, it automatically goes to the backup. When I bring the tone back, it stays on the backup computer, and then if I press the button, it brings it back to the A computer. So that's a quick rundown of what I do here at the show, and I am really honored to have been here for 3 seasons, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks for watching.
That's cool. So again, that's a super short video. There's a couple things I think I want to point out. Again, as I kind of teased in the intro, I think there's things we can learn from rigs like this. So on this particular show, I think Laura said she's doing analog outs. And so if you look at that, the signal path is Madi to a switcher to then the Andiamo, which is converting to analog. you could look at that and go, well, that's overkill if I'm just doing analog. And I think in a lot of ways it is. But the reason that that rig is set up that way is if you go out on the road, if you're working with a tour that's using Madi, then you've got your Madi output of the Xbox.BLDS. That's your switcher. That's Madi. You roll and you're good to go. But if you end up in a venue that suddenly you need analog, then you have the Andiamo to convert from Madi to analog. And so you have basically different options for outputs there, which is really, really great. And so for those of us watching, again, if you're building, I think the mistake sometimes we make is we watch these videos and we see rig rundowns and we go, oh, I'm going to go do that and build that rig. And we end up spending $7,000 on pieces of gear to do something that we could have done with a box that's $600. For example, if you buy a Play Audio 12, everything that Laura's talking about here can be done with the Play Audio 12, manual, analog switching. It can't do Madi though, so if you end up on a rig where you need Madi, again, maybe that's where you then do the MadiFace XTs from RME. You go into the Xbox.BLDS for your switching from Madi, and then you need conversion to analog. You can use the Ferrofish, I think A32 or A16, or you can use the Andiamo, or you can use Direct Out's Prodigy MC, which is conversion. On the back end of that to convert that. So, but a couple things I think we can take away from this rig. If you need that conversion thing, this is kind of a standard rig that I see a lot of people on the road that are, high level, working with high level artists have. Again, a lot of times they're running Madi, and so their rig is, very similar to what Laura was showing here with, RME interfaces. They have the Xbox.BLDS, again, which is their switcher, which is playing the role of like a Play Audio 12 or a SW8 that's doing the switching, right? Because redundancy is super, super key. And then they have some sort of conversion to get that to analog if they need it. Again, if you're just gonna roll analog, skip all that and just go analog. But I think a couple things in particular that are interesting to pull out of this. One, a high-level rig, high-level show is going to use redundancy. Like if you're hired to make sure that it works and your goal is like it has to work, then you need a redundant rig, right? So hope is a terrible backup plan. Don't just step on stage and hope that it works. Have a backup plan. Also, I think flexibility is super important. That's the reason this whole rig is spec'd the way it is so that it's flexible. Again, we have Madi, for the majority of our rig, and if we need analog, we can switch to analog. The redundancy thing, the way that Laura's running it is interesting to me because I tend to be of the manual only camp. Like I like being in control of when things switch, and so I want to be the person that decides that. I don't want Tone to be the person that decides that. I have set up a lot of rigs though for people where we do automatic switching just so that they don't have to think about it. But I like the idea of doing automatic switching, but then having the switch to be able to get you back to the B machine. A lot of people make the mistake of setting up their Play Audio 12, for example, to switch over to the A side once it receives tone again, which is not the default. They go in and change the default. But I like this to have the switch to switch over if you also do automatic. So again, a lot of really good stuff to come out of this. And again, the controller that Laura's using is a custom made controller, but you can look at it and see there's a lot of similarities to the Oak Board Slide Duo, play, stop, previous, next, and there's a couple other pads on here that the Slide Duo doesn't have. You've got the control, the faders, which if you were, running lead vocals, you could have that assigned. You could have click guide, that sort of stuff assigned there as well too, which is pretty cool. She's using Setlist, which I think is essential on a show like this because it's changing so quickly, and there's a lot of songs you got to get into the system and then change them. But I even think something bigger than this. Laura at the beginning gave a shout out to Kris Pooley, which I've never met Kris, but I know people like Laura and my buddy Pete that know Kris very well. A really good music director realizes they can't do everything, right? And so you think of someone like Kris that gets hired to be the music director. They're going to hire people that are going to help them write charts. They're going to hire people that will help them do playback. They're going to hire people to help them serve in different roles because they realize they just can't do everything. And to be a really good music director, to be in charge of all this, they have to delegate and hand things off. And so I think that's another really non-technical lesson that we can learn from this that I think is really great. That don't try to do everything, Laura's an insanely talented musician, but she's not on stage for this. She is off stage running playback for this, and because it's that essential of a role. And you think about all the different artists that are coming in and out. You know, Laura was at my Playback Academy 2 years ago when we did that in person in Austin, and she was just telling some stories. She was super generous and kind enough to be there as a guest, and came and told some stories of American Idol and working with different artists that came in and had very specific needs of what the click should look like and the type of cues and slate tracks that they wanted, that sort of thing. And so I think a gig like this is really interesting because at a moment's notice, things can change in rehearsal, have to tweak based on the artist, what they're doing. And you have these guest artists coming in that have very high expectations and specific things. So even though this video is 2 minutes, 37 seconds, I think there's a lot we can learn from this and a lot we can pull from this. So I'm going to link this in the description. If you want to watch this, you can subscribe to Laura's channel. Again, she's a great artist in her own right, great educator. Electronic Creatives is a killer company. It does a lot of really good stuff. And you can check out some of the tools and resources that Laura mentions here. I'll try to add links to those as much as I can. If I miss something, just leave a comment and I'll try to go back and edit the description afterwards. But thank you guys so much for watching this. If you're interested in performing on stage with Ableton Live, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable the bell icon so you see when I post a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.